जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुनतीरावनचारी। यामुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सदश्री श्रीमद एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, Text 30. The chapter entitled The Atrocities of King Kamsa. So please repeat after me. Akarnya bhartuhu gaditam tam uchuhu devam shatravah devan प्रति कृत अमर्षाः दैतेयाः न अति कोविदाः आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गदितं तम ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया नातिकोविदाः आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गदितं तम ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया नातिकोविदाः आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गदितं तम ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया नातिकोविदाः आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गतितं तं ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया 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 नातिको विदाः. आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गदितं तम ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया नातिको विदाः. आकर्ण्य भर्तुर्गदितं तम ऊचुर्देवशत्रवः देवान् प्रतिकृतामर्षा दैतेया नातिको विदाः. आकर्ण्य, after hearing bhartuhu of their master, gatitam, the words or statement, tam uchuhu, replied to him, deva shatravaha, all the asuras who were enemies of the demigods, devan, the demigods, prati, toward, krita amarshaha, who were envious, daiteyaha, the asuras, na, not, atikovidaha, who were very expert in executing transactions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. After hearing their master's statement, the envious asuras, who were enemies of the demigods and were not very expert in their dealings, advised Kamsa as follows. Purport. There are two different types of men, the asuras and the suras. Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura evacha Vishnu bhakta smrtodhaiva asuras tad viparyayaha. Those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu, Krishna, are asuras or devas, whereas those who are opposed to the devotees are called asuras. Devotees are expert in all transactions. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. Therefore they are called kovida, which means expert. Asuras, however, although superficially showing expertise in passionate activities, are actually all fools. They are neither sober nor expert. Whatever they do is imperfect. Mogasha moga karmanaha. According to this description of the asuras given in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 text 12, whatever they do will ultimately be baffled. It was such persons who advised Kamsa because they were his chief friends and ministers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Akarnya Bhartur Ghaditam Tam Uchur Deva Shatravaha Devan Pratikrita Daiteya Nati Kovidaha. Translation. After hearing their master's statement, the envious asuras, who were enemies of the demigods and were not very expert in their dealings, advised Kamsa as follows. So now we see here, after Kamsa related what happened to him, and he is sharing with his ministers of the what Yogamaya had spoken to him, and then he was um, yeah, he was actually expressing that, okay, this is what happened, I didn't expect something like this will happen, but this is the reality. So immediately his sincere followers they understood the mood of Kamsa, and now they are coming up with, as the chapter unfolds, you will see they are coming up with such demoniac ideas. Only the demon can have such ideas. So I am not going to discuss on that because that will be the later shlokas. We can just see what kind of ideas and that they are giving. They don't bother about the well-being of others. They simply are interested only in their own welfare. And that is their philosophy. And for that, they are ready to kill. They are ready to kill anyone. They are ready to kill their own co-brothers or sisters. As we see, this is the suggestion they are going to give. They want to kill the children who are going to be born, who were born in the last 10 days, and then who are elder. So that's going to be the event here. In the last line of this verse, it is explained, Daiteya nati kovidaha. This is something to be thought about. Nati kovidaha. Kovidaha means one who is, as Asphalopropa translates here, ati kovidaha, who are very expert in executing transactions. Nati kovidaha here means that directly it is explaining that the demons are not very expert in their dealings. So, in one sense, when we just look at it, it might appear like, how to understand this statement, that demons are not expert in their dealings. We see in this world there are so many inventions, so many things that have happened. They are not devotees. Outright I would say many are demons. They don't have faith in God. They don't accept the statements of God. So how do we understand this? So this is one aspect of it. Then we can see such kind of statements in Bhagavatam again and again. There are many incidents which by your logic you may not be able to comprehend it. For example, we hear that Lord Shiva is sitting under a huge banyan tree. I don't remember the exact number, something like 18,000 miles wide and so tall. So how do we put this into our brain? And then we also see in the 5th canto explanations of eagles, huge eagles carrying the elephants. It can eat the elephants. And not only that, it can carry the elephants from one planet to another planet. And while carrying, Bhagavatam says that it hatches the eggs, and from the eggs the birds fly. So how are you going to bring the logic and try to understand what is this all about? So that is why in our the Vedic epistemology has got an approach. There is pratyaksha, there is anumana, and there is shabda. Well, for the Western philosophers, for pratyaksha is empiricism. Whatever they see, that's what they accept. That's one level of accepting knowledge or gaining knowledge. And then next what they do is they apply logic. They try to, it could be like this, it could be like that. So that is anumana, which is speculation. So only these are the two aspects by which they get to know about some things, and they try to derive and understand things. But there is no question. There is no question of accepting any authority. So that's the whole idea of Shabda, means we accept the statements of the authority as it is. Maybe at this point of time we may not be able to conceive, we may not be able to understand how it is, but we accept the statements of the authority because we have a clear understanding that the statement that is coming from the Lord and his representatives are beyond the defects of the humans. Just a side point, but it's quite an important point we need to understand, because just when we say a statement like this, that the demons are not very expert in their dealings, we have to understand what Bhagavatam is exactly trying to point out here. So yeah, Prabhupada is touching that point. He is explaining that why the devotees are expert and the asuras are not expert. Although apparently it might appear that asuras look like they are very organized. They have let's take the example of some technological advancements. So many different things they have come up with. You can even just take a simple example of an aeroplane. When we that itself is quite a big invention. Like something which is very heavy. They have made it to float. They can carry thousands of people. But Srila Prabhupada makes a mockery of it. He says that, yes, he speaks about in, I think, one of the conversation. He says that, yeah, you see the Boeing, it's quite an achievement that they have done. Then Prabhupada gives an example of the mosquitoes. There has some 2,000 mosquitoes or something. They're just going all around. Such a hissing sound is being produced. But then Prabhupada points out that, but you see, although they just go, there is not even a single crash. They don't hit against each other. There is no radars, or there are no technological advancement, but things are in place. Srila Prabhupada points out that. So what's the underlying point is that the demons have invented so many things. The whole idea is that it's all based on sense enjoyment. Ultimately, at the end of the day, how can I gratify my senses? That is their idea. So that is where they are completely baffled. All the so-called advancement, everything, because as the last 2 days we are discussing, their whole fundamental principle, the whole fundamental idea of trying to enjoy this material world and trying to enjoy the matter, trying to squeeze the matter as much as possible, the whole idea is wrong. Right from the beginning, it's wrong. So you cannot be happy with this idea. That is why, although they may appear to be very expert, but at the end of the day, they cannot, with their so-called expert activities, they cannot be happy. So they are not expert in their activities. That's the understanding. Because ultimately, whatever that you try to do, at the end of the day, you need to be happy, but you cannot be happy because you are trying to act against the direction of the Lord. The Lord has a plan. The Lord has created this world. He has certain protocols, certain methodologies by which we need to operate in this world, so that we can be a little intelligent and act in such a way that we come out of the mess that we have created here in this world. So that the Lord has given us directions. But the demons, the way they work, they think that they are too intelligent, they are too smart than the Lord, and they come up with so many ideas. And at the end of the day, actually it is not giving great benefit to the people. So this is the whole point here. So Srila Prabhupada here, immediately he points out that the devotees are expert in all transactions. So sometimes we can see, maybe the devotee may not be. There are some devotees who are extremely talented. They are very well organized. They are capable, very intelligent. From an external point of view, also I'm just trying to say. But on the other hand, you may see someone may not be so expert or so intelligent, but if you just see the very attitude of a person who is trying to abide by the instructions of the Lord. Point number one. Point number two, he wants to somehow or other please the Lord. He may be very simple, but his intention is to please the Lord. So that actually makes him expert. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, by surrendering one's life in Krishna's service and accepting his instructions and executing his instructions, one gains all the knowledge that is required to transcend this material world. So that is the whole point. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunai tatra samasate suraha. So therefore they are called Kovida, which means expert. So as the point that I want to drive here is that there may be several skill sets one may possess, but everything is meant ultimately for pleasing the Lord. If you miss the most underlying principle, this principle if you miss, then everything is lost. Yesterday we were just having a discussion with Amma Leela Prabhu. We were speaking about music, how music could be, when it is done properly, it creates very good mood and then all those things. But then also Srila Prabhupada many times he discussed that we are not professional musicians. The whole idea of music is to please Krishna. So you may be very expert in raga, you may be very expert in, you may be, have very good in intonations and so many things you may be very expert. But your intention, if it is not for pleasing Krishna, you are simply a demon. That's all. You just want to do it for your own sense gratification. So that's the whole underlying principle. And Srila Prabhupada in this purport is pointing out that how the asuras are actually fools, because they may be engaged in so many passionate activities, so many different things they may be engaged in, but actually they are only creating trouble in the society, because they are gradually drifting even simple people, innocent people, they are drifting them away from the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's the point. I was just thinking how the so-called demoniac people have drifted the whole society away from God. For example, let's see live scenarios, many situations. For example, we see now India is always trying to imitate the West. We see people coming from even those who have some experience working in corporates and other things. They may know. Always there is someone, the local company or something has a tie-up with US or Europe-based firm, and then someone comes from the West, and then he dictates everything. He sets the motion, he sets the idea, he sets the tone. Everything is working according to that. For example, we can see, somebody might have done some, he might have come from some big business school. What they will try to push ideas of trying to acquire more land, trying to increase the business by getting some loan. So the whole idea of getting loan and then, trying to increase your business or getting more land, producing more, and then by doing that you get more money, and then by getting more money you will be more secured, more happy. These kind of ideas they float and they give big talks on this. I just remember hearing once this so-called businessman from a Harvard school. He was trying to advise a village man. He was trying to ask a village person, so what are you doing? So how do you lead your life? He said that I wake up in the morning, I do my morning duties and other things, spend some time with the family, and then I come to the city. He sells some bangles. I spend time till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, spend some bangles and like that, sells bangles, and then go back to my village, and then take my lunch, take little rest, and then evening time, I spend time with my family, friends, everyone. That's how the day goes. So then he says, oh, why you are struggling? How you come? So he says, I come with a bulla cart. So then he suggests that, okay, then he gives ideas of cars, trucks, tractors, and all those ideas. And then he says that actually, in your own village, you can, and he says that I had little land, something we cultivate, whatever is minimal required, you can cultivate. So he gives all the ideas, So you can buy tractors, you can have a very big land, you can spend little bit more time, you can work a little bit more, and then all these things, and then you produce more food, and then you can save money, and then you can sell more, and then you can have lots and lots of money, and then you can be very happy. And then I then said that then you work till you become 55, 60, and then you can spend quite some time with your family. He said, I'm already doing that. He said, I'm already doing that. Why I need to? He was little, the village person was little intelligent. He said that that's what I'm doing. Whatever money and whatever that I have, I'm happy. But you can see, this is what is happening really. In reality, this is what is happening. Innocent people are made to take so much loan. And then we can see people who are in the village, most of them, they are advertised. They are like this, how much preaching is going on. And then thanks to the great invention of the television, once the TV came, everything got spoiled. I'm just giving one example of TV. Then what more to speak of? We have smartphones. Then the whole World Wide Web, internet technology came in. The people were so-called, they became educated. They started exposing themselves to so many things. And what happened? People from village started migrating to the cities. They said that if you go to city, you can earn more money. In short time, you can earn more money and you can be happy. But literally, actually, this killed the whole civilization. Actually, literally, it spoiled. The demons were so smart. This is what they did. People from I I came a little late for the class. I was hearing something about the train example Krishna Prabhu was giving. But we really thought that, in your train, people who are in the village, they could be much, much happy working on their land and then, producing whatever, then they could be really happy. But unfortunately, they are being motivated, they are being cheated. That's what is literally going on. They're cheated by the demons. They come to the city and they work in the factories. They get any time for themselves. They work so hard. They struggle. And we can see what are all the different impacts this modern civilization, which is planned by the demons, what impact it has created. Are the people really happy? If we can just go one by one, we can just see in terms of character. In terms of the character of people were much, much better. In fact, it is very good. Maybe 25, 30 years back, people were more generous, they were more accommodative, they like to relate with people. Even forget about spiritual. Definitely spiritual culture was quite high. I'm not even speaking about spiritual. Even the very attitude, people were not so greedy, they were not so much envious. So all this, because the moment you put these commodities and then so many different things for sense gratification, and which will give you temporary pleasure, and you just like you throw some food for the dog. So like that, you just put so many sense gratificatory things. Many sense gratificatory things from the West was imposed in India, and people gradually, and also to make them use that, a lot of preaching has to be done. So for them to convert them from a simple action to little complicated thing, you get yourself adjusted to it. Some preaching has to be done. People, once they get hooked onto it, then the whole thing becomes messy. The life becomes extremely messy. That's what has happened. So in terms of character is almost lost. We can hardly see. The Vedic culture was so nice that it has trained people to see other man's wives as mothers. But today, due to the propaganda, in the TV, in the internet, and right from the young boys, from the young age, there is no such training. Everywhere lust is being promoted so much. All kinds of movies, pictures, and people watch all the time. They watch this. They don't hear anything from Ramayana or Mahabharata, which used to be a tradition before. And all the time you keep watching these things, and then there is always advertisements for how you can get more money, how you can get a better job, how you can go to the West, how you can accumulate more wealth. But what do we expect among the people? This is what will happen. People's minds are extremely disturbed. They are always, as in few purposes behind, Srila Prabhupada was making a very nice point that people are constantly working hard to counteract the difficulties that they are facing, because the modern civilization, in the name of creating happiness, has actually created a lot of difficulties. So they are trying to counteract the difficulties. That is how the whole energy, the human energy, is spent on that. So that's the point. So the character is lost, and one of the reason for that is because of the TVs, internet, smartphones. They are constantly bombarded with all kinds of nonsense. So even forget about outright demon, even innocent people, what happens? Literally because of bad association, they lose. They lose their thought process, and then they try to enjoy sense gratification, and they in turn become demons. That is what is happening in reality. So Srila Prabhupada here is pointing out from the Gita, where it says Mogasha Moga Karmana. So the moment we divert from the path that is set by the Lord, we are just completely carried away by the illusory energy of the Lord. So this is what happens. So it's very important to understand that first of all, we need to be very intelligent to understand that actually we are being misdirected. So that is why Srila Prabhupada's books are great eye opener. Openly it exposes. It exposes all the problems of modern life. Otherwise, we are being preached, we are being brainwashed, literally, that okay, this modern life is the real life. But when somebody comes in touch with the Krishna consciousness movement, and when we get Srila Prabhupada's books, he is able to see what are even otherwise that we can see. Even now, there are many people in the outside world who are little smart. They are able to understand that the modern way of life is actually creating a lot of trouble. People are going towards Greenland, organic, trying to produce organic foods. Of course, they are not able to They have not come to that extent of their connection with God and then serving God, which requires definitely without devotees' help that is very difficult. But at least some of them are able to see, hey, there is something wrong going here. Actually, there are people who are trying to exploit the nature, and for their own comfort, they are trying to exploit us. So when this requires little sanity to see, yes, and we can see politicians are exploiting us, big industrialists are exploiting us, the some of the doctors are exploiting us, so many people. So because they are not God conscious, they don't have the idea that we are all part and parcel of God. Everyone is part and parcel of God. We are meant to please God because the others are our co-brothers. So we need. But when you have a demoniac attitude, you can't see that. You can no way see that. You will always think of I, me, and mine. How to enjoy and exploit the nature. That's the whole idea. So that's what we are seeing. So the nature is being exploited, and then the people around are being exploited, and as a result, it's a complete chaotic situation. So we see. That's why we see even among the youth, everybody is completely disturbed. In fact, they are exploited like anything. So you can see, even what is the greatest pressure that is there. At least in India, we can see people definitely they should have some higher education. They should have graduated. They should have done some BSc, BCom. And then it doesn't stop there. You should have done some post graduation. Should have done MBA or MSc. And then immediately, that's how the people ask, oh, what is your son is studying? Which college, which school? That's the first thing. And then if he doesn't go to a school or college, then it's like, he's something wrong with his family or something wrong with his boy. That's how the society looks at it. And then next thing is, can he speak English? If he doesn't speak English, even they think that he's not even a human being. It's another crazy thing actually. There are still in India, there are so many people who are very, very, very highly cultured. They have no clue of English language. They are very good. Their character is good. Their thought process is good. They're excellent. But if you come to city or if you associate with people in the city, if you do not know English, you're considered to be. These are all the whole propaganda by the demons, because they want to bring their ideas and thought process so that they want to sell their products, they want to sell their ideas. So this is how they project, and so that's the whole point. So and then after this, so after education, then next thing is, where are you working? And people don't even want to identify themselves as a farmer. These days, people they don't want to tell that they are farmer, or they are. What are you doing? I am doing some work in the Goshala. In fact, I see even many times with devotees also, they have no clear conception of what is Krishna consciousness. And then if anything to do with service with a farm or service with cows, they think that, it's not for me. Maybe it is not for you, that's a different thing. But if somebody is doing this service, it doesn't mean that, it is something on a lower level. Actually, those who are in the corporate, they think that they are really, very intelligent. But actually, you lose all your intelligence, you lose all your character by associating with demons there, actually, outright there. Because they don't have faith in the Vedas, they don't have faith in the words of the Lord. Everybody is just questioning. They think that religion is actually, that has caused great trouble in the society. Although, to some extent, it may be true. But actually, religion is not meant for that. Religion is meant to reconnect ourselves with God. Because of some of the propaganda of the demons, and also some of the so-called so-called sadhus or religionists who do not understand themselves what is the purpose of religion. For example, there is one who is that Guru Maharaj always used to give this example of a father, I'm not of some archbishop of some very famous church, which is considered to be one of the topmost church. So when an interview was done with him, he was asked, so what will you do after you die? So when he was interviewed, he said that for 100 years I will serve God selflessly, and for the rest of eternity I would like to enjoy life in the heaven. This is the conception. This is the whole idea. You could do, what do we expect from a leader of faith? this is what he is propagating. And also we can see sometimes people, because there is no training whatsoever, their understanding of after death, what you would like to do, I would like to go to heaven and then go and join my mother and father, my grandfather and grandmother. So there was one devotee very nicely questioned, you fool, you want your grandfather and grandmother to be in there in that same body? Even here also, I just seen once one of my relatives, grandmother is struggling and suffering for life. It's very difficult for her to prolong. But the relatives are, no, I want her to be. She's already with all so many tubes. Already dialysis is going on. They are just shouting that no, somehow we will bring her back to life. She herself doesn't want to be in that body. So I'm just pointing out this because everybody is so self-centered. Because she will give pleasure to me. You're not thinking that whether he will be happy, he or she will be happy. But by by she being alive, I'll be happy. This is all mentality of completely misdirected mentality. This is the problem. So the whole idea of that we will be, all of us will be together. So what it brings down to, as Prabhupada asked, the most fundamental question he asked, that you are so much educated, you have done your graduation, post-graduation, doctorate, and you do not know who you are. Now, sometimes we see Prabhupada back and forth, many lectures in his conversations, and when he meets people, he drives this point that we are not this body, we are spiritual, because people do not know this. Unless you do not know this, what is the question of discussing about spiritual life? Unless we do not have clear conception of that, how we are different from the body and soul, and we are very insignificant and we are controlled, we are meant to serve God. If we don't get this basic point, what more higher things we are going to understand? So the demons, they are completely baffled. They have no clue or no idea, and they themselves are misdirected. And in the name of shaping the society, they more and more take the society away from the directions of the Lord. So that's why that His Holiness Sohotra Maharaj used to make this point that that when God created the world, and this is what some of the philosophers they think, God created the world, and after that he did not know what to do, so he went to take rest. So these so-called big politicians and philosophers, they thought that now let's shape the world, now let's give ideas and shape the world. This is such a foolishness actually. And what they do, they just make it more. It's very simple. If you simply follow the system as given by the Lord, everything will be very prosperous. Everything will be very nice. But we always want to mess up things. So coming back to the point, so when we were just traveling the train, we just really saw, it's so pathetic. People are really struggling and suffering. So they do not, very innocent, they are spending money on so many unnecessary things, but they do not know there is higher life. So they are in such a small box. So they are thinking that, okay, life is that if I can get my food for today, and then if I can save some money, I'll be happy. But everything is going to be swept away by the influence of time. So the point is that, yes, now what do we do? That's what is the situation is. We are surrounded by these kind of people. And well, quite some time back, we were also one of the members of that society. We cannot forget that. But actually, as Srila Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness movement can create a great revolution in the minds of such people. And it is very much possible by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, preaching the message as given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the only hope. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the only hope. Actually, the demons, what can we do with the demons? Srila Prabhupada many times said, just give them some prasadam. Sometimes they are not interested to hear anything. But nevertheless, it is a duty of the preachers to go out and meet people, and we have hope that we have very powerful weapons with us. So that's the great thing. We have Krishna's holy name, we have the transcendental teachings of the Lord, Krishna Katha, and then we have Krishna Prasad. So these three things, the more we distribute this, it will definitely create a very powerful impact in the society. That's what is happening all around. People who are of envious nature, people who had atheistic mindset, when they come in touch with devotees, when they come in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books, and if they show little inclination, and then if they try to hear the message, and they, by the mercy of Krishna and the pure devotees, They start thinking, and then the more they read, they try to understand that they question, there will be a great change that will happen in their life. And we can see that how those who are very asuric, who are very much at the outset, were because of propaganda and other things, were not so much interested to know about religion or the path of religion. They all have changed. There's one incident I just remember. Recently, I was reading a book called Destination South Africa. So how the Krishna consciousness movement started in South Africa. So His Holiness Pushta Krishna Maharaj is not anymore. So he and other devotees, specifically in this incident, there was a devotee by name Gokulendra. So they were, both of them were trying to register ISKCON in South Africa. And before that also, you can see in South Africa there was the apartheid system was there. So there is a discrimination. People were seen with discrimination like that. And devotees, our philosophy is straightforward. Everyone is equal, in the sense that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. In the eyes of the Lord, we are all equal. So, well, some of them would not like to hear that. Devotees were explaining that when they were preaching like this, and they will go out and distribute books, distribute holy name. Many times they have to do it a little hidden. When the cops see, they always have the doubts. So, like that, they were struggling literally, going. And then a few devotees were trying to preach. So always the cops were on their case. They were trying to arrest them and like that. So at one place, at some point of time, they were getting always there were some local Indians and other one or two South Africans were also little favorable. So they were coming in touch with the devotees and like that. So in Pretoria, they were almost about to slowly, they were a gathering of devotees, and they wanted to, as the devotee community was gradually building, they wanted to register the society. So when they were trying to register the society, they met some officials. So Pushta Krishna Maharaj and this devotee Gokulendra, he used to go. Whenever he used to go, they were not at all friendly. Dealing with officials is always very difficult. Even now, our devotees have experience trying to get an approval, and you have to really go and then spend some time with them. Always try to be very, very careful what you are speaking. So there also they were not interested at all for registering. But somehow or other, one official was little favorable. Little means very early was favorable. Then this devotee had gone to his office. So he was meeting. So he was trying to. So we want to register the society. The same thing in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But the authority was not ready to do that. So he was first of all not interested in registering at all. Even when he came a little forward to register, he said that, I think if I remember, Krishna Consciousness for South Africa, like that he wanted to register the society. So he said that, no, throughout the world our society is called as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Why don't you do this? Please help with this. No, it's not possible. Some argument was back and forth was going on. Meanwhile, a fellow came with serving him tea and biscuits. So Gokulendra Prabhu always has a habit of, whenever he goes out, always he has prasadam. He goes out, meets people, always used to distribute prasadam, and he used to distribute books, speak philosophy and like that. So what he did, like this, their conversation was going, heated exchange was going on, and then a little bit cooled down. Then when this fellow came, so this official was looking somewhere. So what he did, he pulled up some Mahaprasadam from his packets, and then he kept it along with the cookies. So what he did, actually it was Simply Wonderful, I think. So what happened? This fellow, he took the Simply Wonderful, and then I don't know what happened. Within few, he says within few seconds, so he suddenly told his secretary, "Okay, just give them International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Let it be registered like that." I'm just giving his own example, but I'm just trying to make the point that, as Kurma Prabhu used to say, don't underestimate the power of prasadam. Prasadam is very powerful. So for people who do not even want to listen or hear, we can give them prasadam. Definitely they will take. But then there are outright demons who do not even take prasadam. What to do? Hare Krishna. We can pray for them. That's all. Yeah, we can see sometimes some, one minority faith who do not even want to take prasadam. They said it's a Satan food. We don't want to take it. There are people like that. But the whole point is that the whole process of Krishna consciousness, it is very powerful. Although the situation appears little hopeless, it was the same thing when Kamsa was there. He wanted to kill Krishna. And the followers of Kamsa also wants to kill Krishna. They want to kill Krishna's civilization, Krishna's instructions. They want to establish Kamsa Rajya or Ravana Rajya or Hiranyakashipu Rajya. This is what they want to establish. But the devotees of the Lord are always very active, so they understand the mood of the Lord, and we go out, distribute books, distribute prasadam, distribute Krishna Katha. So we have a great opportunity now. It's just the Janmashtami marathon is going to start, just a month left. So we have a tremendous opportunity to bring in lots and lots of people. I just remember now, when I was just speaking this, Guru Maharaj was recently giving this talk on Nrsimha Chaturdasi. So he said that, we have so many demons are coming in. People come into the temple. So what we do, we bring them inside, bring them, show them the temple, they take darshan of the deities, give them prasadam, feed them up to the neck, and then we give them Prabhupada books, give them Bhagavatam set, and then they walk in as Maharaj said, they walk in as demons, they go out as devotees. This is what we need to do. So we have a lot of work to do. So that's how we just distribute books. We just go out in the streets with full heart, sing the holy name, and help people. Literally, we should have this, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his song, this Kabe Habe Bolo Sedin Amar. When he in the beginning he says that when will the day come when I can chant the holy name without any anarthas? Purely when will I chant? He begins the song like that, but then at the end of the song, he makes two very interesting points. He says that when someone chants very purely, what is his attitude? He has two things. One is that he develops taste for the holy name, but then he makes the point that Jive Dvaya. He says that a devotee develops compassion for the conditioned souls. We can see Srila Prabhupada was preaching so strong. In one place, you can just see in one of the Bhagavatam lecture, he says that I tell them straight on their face that you are a rascal, you are a demon. Prabhupada says to the scientists, you are a rascal, you are a demon. And he says that they are tolerant, they accept it, they know there is something like that. So Prabhupada says that. But then you can see what Prabhupada, he did. He never, anybody who came to the temple, he always made sure that they took prasadam. He wanted to preach very widely. He wanted to have Bhakti Vedanta Institute. He established Bhakti Vedanta Institute. He had village preaching programs. He had Padayatra. He had programs in the universities. He had program for the youth. He developed the farm communities. He protected the cows. So many ways by which Srila Prabhupada he had a tremendous vision by which he could bring the plan that Krishna had. He could make it very practical in this age, so that everyone from any corner of the society, from any background, they can engage in Krishna's service. They can purify their existence, completely come out of the demoniac attitude by taking shelter of the holy name, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They can purify themselves, and then they can really be happy. And then further, what happens when we see in our own lives that what I was before and what is happening to me now, naturally we would like to share this with others. So it's a great opportunity for us now. So we should take more endeavors. Our mind should work constantly how to bring in more people for these festivals. So these festivals are great opportunity. So many times, we see, some devotees also, those devotees were just begin to come. Wives may not be very favorable in some houses. Wives may not be completely interested. Sometimes the wives are very interested. The husband is totally uninterested. But we have experience here only in Salem also. We have seen the last 15-20 years. Gradually, bring them for festivals. Bring them. They can come and see the kirtans, dramas. They take prasadam. So gradually, this power of holy name and the process of bhakti is. We do not know how Krishna works. How the power of devotional service works through the devotees. We simply have to be instruments. That's all. Nimitta matrena bhavasavya sachin. So that's the whole key. So if we can be like that, then whatever plans the demons may have, the demons may come up with so many different kinds of plans, but at the end of the day, it is all baffled, as Srila Prabhupada says here. It will be baffled. But from our side, we need to be very much sticking to the process of Krishna consciousness. That's the most important thing. And we are very firmly convinced. We are very firmly convinced with the philosophy. So that's why this is not a very sentimental process. Not that we just come, dance, sing holy names, which is very good, great. Why Srila Prabhupada wrote so many books? We need to read that, we need to understand. Then we will not be sentimental. There will always be testing situations. There will always be, as we were hearing 2 days back, Gokul Prabhupada was explaining, when there is some situation, when there are some reversals that happen in our life, immediately we think whether to practice Krishna consciousness or not. In fact, our so-called relatives will immediately use the opportunity. You went to ISKCON. You see, everything was going, you were going to that You are doing that Kula Devata worship. Now you stopped it. That is why this happened, that happened. That's why you got this back pain, this disease, that disease. And when we are not thoroughly convinced with the practice that we are doing, we may even think that maybe they are right. Maybe that's the reason. I should really think about it. So that's why it's very important for us to regularly read, hear. Need to be convinced by the process of Krishna conscious philosophy. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami very clearly points out, Siddhanta boliye chitte na kore alash. Iha hoite lage Krishna sudrida manas. If you don't understand the conclusions of the philosophical conclusions properly, then what happens? Our mind is little weak. So then what happens? Then our mind doesn't become complete shelter of Krishna. So that's the whole thing. So what is that? Ultimately, the whole entire philosophy, you can see the whole Vedas, everything is meant for sacrifice. Sacrifice means for pleasing Krishna. And then by that, we develop firm faith. What is that definition of firm faith? Vishvasheka hai Shudra Krishna Bhakti Kaile. How does it begin? What is the word? Shraddha Shabde Vishvashaka hai Shudra Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita hai. Nothing else needs to be done. Krishna consciousness, this one process is sufficient in itself. Everything else is taken care. That faith, to develop that faith, we need to associate with devotees who are with that faith. That's why we need to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and his bona fide devotees, who are constantly preaching, constantly glorifying. Even in the hopeless situation, they have hope, that they have faith that yes, Krishna consciousness will work. In that situation, I just remember there was one devotee who was preaching in South Africa. He came in the beginning. It was so difficult situation. Wherever you go, police are catching. Wherever you go, you can't go out and speak. You have to do it very, very intelligently. When the statements that you are speaking, even see there are straight statements from the Gita and Bhagavatam, which speaks about that that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, and we are. What is this? Is the skin is black, some skin is white, some skin is brown. You have to be a little careful because you are going to establish a society in the beginning. So Pushpa Krishna Maharaj, when he used to preach, very, very, the words choices of words he will use, everything. Although you'll do straight preaching, but he will sometimes be very careful dealing with officials and like that. So, but this devotee was also trying to do, but he was finding it very difficult. At one point of time, one fine day morning, he just wrote a small slip. He was preaching with another devotee. He left Africa. He left to preach in some other place. But later he came and then met Srila Prabhupada. He said that Prabhupada, it was so difficult, I cannot. So Prabhupada engaged him in some other service. But then another devotee who really stuck to he was left alone. He did not have any other choice. But he stuck to the process. He stuck to the situation, completely depending on Krishna's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy. And Prabhupada wrote so many encouraging letters that to go on. Then Prabhupada gave immediately support. He sent a few more devotees to help him. And then with great struggle, they established. It was really fight with demons. So everywhere it is like that. We need to work hard. We need to take shelter of Krishna's instructions and Prabhupada's instructions and have faith in it. We may not know how it is going to happen, but it will happen. So similarly, whatever situation we are in, every one of us are facing different challenges. But we need to face the challenge by taking shelter of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra and engage in service. So definitely, with the mercy of the Lord, we will be able to please Prabhupada, that's for sure. Even if we may not be able to achieve some big success, but the very attempt of trying to propagate and preach Krishna consciousness, that in itself is success. That's the whole point. Srila Prabhupada many times said that, that you go out and then preach. You have faith and stick to the purity is the force, Prabhupada said. Purity is the force. Follow the regulative principles. Chant 16 rounds. Then you will be able to overcome the effect of the demons. So here we see now it's going to unfold how Kamsa is going to give someone more instructions to the members in Mathura how to further destroy the inhabitants of there. That we will be seeing in the upcoming verses to come. So I'll just stop here. If you have any questions or comments or any realizations. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Correct. True. Mm. Yes. They keep scanning. Yeah. Mm. uh, because of the political situation that is there. Um, what I what I understand is that at least when you're when you're having a class and speaking straight Krishna conscious discussions should be straight. But when you're at least when you're officially going and dealing with some these kind of diplomats, you cannot what to say speak untruth, but you don't have to be some sensitive things. You need to be very careful. That's how during Prabhupada's time also, when they were going to the preaching in some Islamic nations, or like very much for that matter in Russia and other places, devotees were careful in dealing with that. Um, so yeah, it's quite sensitive. You need to be a little expert in how to deal with that. But as much as possible in dealing with devotees and in some preaching programs, one need to be. You cannot present something else other than Krishna consciousness. That's for sure. But you have to really see the situation. If you are trying to build up some program and trying to gradually bring in devotees and slowly making them understand Krishna consciousness, but if you are going to say something which will be very sensitive, which will be against the government or something, you need to be really watchful. So otherwise, your whole program of Krishna consciousness is going to be disturbed. You need to be a little experienced. That's one thing. When I just say this, another incident just came to my mind that from this destination, South Africa. So what happened is one devotee was right in the streets distributing books, was distributing books, and he also trying to distribute Bhagavatam and like that. Always he was glorifying Bhagavatam and like that. So in fact, one owner of one company, he saw them from a distance. How throughout the day he was distributing books, and then he called him to the side. He said that I would like to recruit you. You are one of the best salesmen. He said that. So that's one of the point. But this devotee went on distributing books. Then actually, what happened? There was one official from the secret agency came, and he watched him. He openly told him, "But hey, actually, I'm from this secret agency. I'm watching you, what you're doing, all this." So this devotee, he just saw what is there. Already he knows me. This is what I'm doing. He didn't cover up or anything. He just spoke to him straight, plain forward, straight, clear philosophy. He said that Krishna is Supreme Lord, and this message, Bhagavatam, what are the messages, what is the unadulterated message given in the Bhagavatam, and like that. And then he said that we on weekends, we come together and we discuss philosophy, and we have nice music, and then we have nice prasadam. Why don't you come in the weekend? He boldly called him. And what happened? This person came on that Sunday, and then this devotee really was doubtful what's going on. He came, he attended the program, he attended the lecture, and what happened actually? This devotee had given the Bhagavatam also to him at the time. Not the entire Bhagavatam, maybe a few books. He took the set, and then he came for the program, and then he was really appreciative. He saw that devotees, they were all chanting, and they were the programs were happening, kirtan was going on, everything. After that end, at the end, he was introduced to a few other devotees he saw, and then he was quite impressed. So he took some more books, and he paid for all the books. And then later, that particular official was very much associated with devotees. That is what was his realization. Well, this is one scenario. Well, we have to see time, place, and situation. But you have to be really, as a preacher, you need to be sensitive where you are preaching, what you are preaching. At the same time, not to say something else in the name of Krishna consciousness. That also should be taken care of. Anything Prabhu you want to add? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Internet, exactly. There's another point. Exactly. There's a very valid point. Why to put first of all on the internet if there's going to be very sensitive thing, but too much fearful, too much, yeah. Exactly. Yes. Also, it could be a speculation. See, Srila Prabhupada himself used to say that if someone reads my books, they should arrest me. He would say, right? So, because so many points Prabhupada presented, so that's why some time back, there is an idea of editing Prabhupada's books like that. But that's the whole point. So, if it's going to be, if they are going to blow your place or something like that, then why do you put it in the internet? And also, as Prabhupada very clearly explained the point that yeah, we are some we are like figs. We are small people. But they have so many things to break their head. So that's the one thing to be. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. True. Unless our own devotee, this could also happen. Unless our own devotee goes and then tells, that could happen. Yes. Yeah. That's also okay. That's a whole big discussion. I just to conclude, Sohatra Maharaj in one class he explained that KGB, he said Kamsa's governing body. This is Kamsa's governing body giving advice to Kamsa. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.